Man, so our lighting isn't perfect.
Okay.
We don't have the cameras all set up. We don't have everything set up the way it is. But we're in a motherfucking podcast room.
We got a podcast studio.
We got a podcast room. We got a studio. Man, we've got Cole, wherever you're at, you're fired. Enzo is our new producer over here. I wish we could turn it around. He's a 12-year-old. He's a minor. This is not legal in any country or state.
Slave labor. Well, it's legal in a few, but not in the United States.
Yeah, exactly. Not in other countries. You're like 3 years old. You come out of the womb. You're producing shoes.
Speaking of, my shoes were produced in an Italian slave sweatshop by 6-year-olds, and it took 5 months, and here they are. And I had to unveil them for the new pod.
Man, what are those? You got custom Italian shoes. That's the bougiest thing I've ever seen.
Honestly, it was pretty annoying. January. Okay, this is gonna be weird though, because we want to
I know. I want to talk to you, but now I'm not. So this is we got to figure this out, you guys.
We're gonna have to sit like this and interlock our legs. We're gonna be sitting in 50-50 guard while we do the pod.
We may have to. We have the other chairs. We may end up having to switch this up a little bit because now I don't know who to talk to. I guess I'll talk to you, but when I'm doing a breakdown, I'm gonna talk to the camera. But I don't know what the hell's going on. Cole, all right, fine. Enzo, you're out. Cole, we need you. We need you back here. We need you back, stat, because
who set up this arrangement? This looks like the casting couch.
You guys don't Google that. Like, not you guys on film. I'm talking about my children, my 10-year-old and my 12-year-old right there. You guys just...
We're not too far from Tempe.
Yeah, I'm over here dropping F-bombs. You're talking about casting couch. Like, I've got... This is bad. You guys, CPS is coming. You guys are going to get called away. But, man, we're here. It's been a while since we did a podcast together because it's like last week in Phoenix, it was 119 degrees like 4 days in a row.
Well, I went to go show someone our pod, and I was like, yeah, we have this awesome studio. We worked hard, put it all together, like got all kinds of stuff for it. And then I was pulling up our recent videos, and like the last like 8 ones were like from home. So finally, it's good to be here. And honestly, this is more convenient because sometimes we do them at night.
Yeah.
And I'm just chilling at home anyways. Like, this is your house now. So just come to your house, not that far
Show
from
up,
me.
knock on the door, eat crepes.
Yeah.
Podcast.
It's more comfortable. It's like a new meaning to work from home. So
yeah. It's nice. We've got last week we killed some bets. Let me grab my phone.
Well, hey, before we do that, we got some whiskey here.
We do have some whiskey. Some water, because
I'm so thirsty.
I don't have any
so hot.
It's not hot here necessarily, but just in life in Arizona right now.
I think we got to cheers. So this is.
I think we got to cheers to a good podcast room, man. Got a little Four Roses, and
so this is only my my third time ever having whiskey. The first time was with you, Blanton's, way back in the day.
Oh yeah,
way back in the day.
Second time was Christmas.
This last year, and so here's the third time.
Is this really? This is like my third time today.
I'm not a big drinker, and whiskey's not my flavor, so we'll give this a shot.
Man, we're gonna have to move some stuff around. This isn't, the table's too far away. The stuff's not set up right. We'll get there. Why did it seem so perfect in the other room?
That was delicious.
You're like a child.
I'm like a woman. All right. So last week was good.
Last week was good. You didn't get to bet because you had problems in life. But the rest of us, well, I can't bet anyway, but on the Discord and stuff, everyone, you got Sam wrong. I mean, right. You called Euros. I called Sam.
Yep.
Other than that, I think the only other thing that I got wrong was over 2.5 for Gaethje and Poirier. Mm-hmm. And I think everything else hit. Like, that was a solid week.
It was good. I've been getting so guys, I gotta apologize. The last maybe month and a half, right? I was on vacation, some problems like at home and stuff, so my head has kind of been out of the game. But that being said, the last like 2 or 3 weeks in a row, on the performance tracker, our guy Brian that always does like the breakdowns of who does what, I've been like number 2 like 3 or 4 weeks in a row.
Nice.
So it's been good. So even if my head's been a little bit in the clouds and I'm suffering in my own areas, right? Gambling, fighting, training, working, all this stuff. But hopefully you guys are still doing well enough, even if I'm not. So.
Yeah, is that the guy on Twitter that tracks stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got. I've been on there too the last few weeks in a row too, like tied for 1, 2, 3, stuff like that. So I'm pretty happy about that. I don't know for whatever that means. Last week was a fun card. Fight start to finish. I think everything was awesome. There's one dumb fight. I forget which it was. But other than that, everything was amazing. The card as a whole. So man, the only thing I got to kind of eat a little bit of my own words was the altitude. When we were up there last time, I feel like the altitude didn't affect that many fighters. But this time I feel like it really affected more people than the last time we were up there. And that wasn't long. It was last year with Luis Saldana.
It might have changed. Global warming affects a lot of things.
It's not real.
Or is it real?
No. There was 119 all last week. It was just the cycle of the world. It just went up. It'll come back down.
I think I'm drunk already. I'm sorry. I think I'm drunk.
Yeah,
already.
you shouldn't have drank that. Like that's. I'm gonna have to like put you to bed and take your car keys.
No,
like,
I'm not kidding. Like one drink, I get drunk.
My wife and I, we have a schedule. We don't drink on Tuesdays. We have a glass of wine on Wednesday, and then on the weekends. So we do a midweek, little beverage. And today's Tuesday, so you're messing up my whole program here. I'm going to drink it. I'm not going to drink it because it's in front of me, but I'll drink it.
Well, it's cause for celebration, so
it is cause for celebration. Let's get into this week's card. There's really no reason not to.
Let's go. Let's do it.
We've got first fight up, Ode Osbourne and Asu Almabaev. Go.
All right, this one is interesting for me. Actually, I need to pull up some odds. I haven't looked at the odds a single time for this card, which is not a good thing, but I got my tape done. Yeah, this one's an interesting one to me because, like, watching the tape, I love Ode here. Just process-wise. So, geez, it's hard because the two narratives about Ode are that he gasses hard and he can't wrestle. When we saw that in the CJ Vergara fight, I think gasses was probably true, but I think he can wrestle, but I think he can only wrestle when he's fresh. The Charles Johnson fight was a much better look for me. I thought, I had never seen that fight until I started watching tape. I just missed it when they actually fought. And, I would never think in a million years that there'd be a lot of grappling in a Charles Johnson fight, at least offensively.
Yeah, nonstop. It was just scramble.
Hold
on really quickly. I'm going to cut you off. I think if one of us sits in a chair and then one of us sits here, and then we have the cameras. I don't know. We'll figure this out. Sorry. Keep going.
You're right. We'd probably have to do like there, move them.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll have to do it. It's a learning curve.
It's a learning curve, guys. We're getting this.
Okay. Anyways, yeah. So there was a lot of grappling in that fight, and the thing that impressed me. So he got taken down with a body lock in that first round, but it was off like I think he threw a kick, and then Charles came up, body locked him, and took him down. Nothing you can do about it. But right off the bat, scooted his butt to the cage, stood up. Then what I like to see is in the second and the third round, the mechanics of him defending the takedowns on the cage. His mechanics were correct. He was pulling up the wrist, sliding out. Like there were so many things that he did really, really well, which tells me that he can defend takedowns on the cage. The dude is super tall for a flyweight. He's probably 5'8", 5'9". He's athletic. He's fast. Honestly, his striking looks super crisp in the Charles Johnson fight. Just honestly on the feet, I don't think this is a close fight at all. Asu may be strong, whatever, but he doesn't have much of a process, right? He was having really close exchanges on the feet with Zach Makovsky standing there, just kind of reacting to things where it looks like Ode sets things up, right? He goes low kicks, throws a lot of liver kicks. His punches are so clean. They come from so far. Really, I think the cardio is the only thing that we have a concern about here because for me, Ode is going to win 1 and 2 at a fairly high clip if he doesn't get taken down and dominated. But even Asu's not really holding people down. I could look like an idiot. I hate these like unknown, these like UFC debuters because they either look the most amazing and the hype is real, or it's just it's completely fake. But in this matchup, I think I like Ode.
I agree with everything you said, and it sounds dumb. Well, all right. So you want to say on paper the wrestling goes to Asu,
but his cage wrestling isn't that good.
His cage wrestling's not great, and really he just has a double leg. He has a double leg. Drives you, and then sits in your guard. Like that's kind of it. But oddly enough, and then we think the cardio goes to Asu, but it's for how Ode fights, his cardio is not the worst. It's not like
he's just so fast twitch that it wears down a little bit.
Yes. Now, the athleticism. So Ode can actually wrestle. He's not as good of a wrestler as the announcers like to say that he is. They always tout his accolades. It's like, look, the guy wrestled in high school. He wrestled like a year or two in a junior college at pretty much a fledgling program that wasn't even really a program, and then he stopped when the coach left. Whatever. He wrestled. He knows how to wrestle. Whatever. But the way that he defends is his hips and his athleticism. And I think he's going to shoot those doubles. And I think the way that Ode is going to like scramble and hip in and move is going to create some problems. And if you watch Asu's opponents, they just lie there. They play a little jiu-jitsu and then they don't really try to get back up. Ode is not going to do that. He's an American MMA fighter who trains with Aljo and JP Buys. He's going to be doing the right stuff, whether he does it or not, or can do it or not, doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but whether he can or can't, but he's going to be trying to do the right stuff. On the feet, I don't think it's close. Asu is very low volume. He doesn't do anything.
There's no process. Yeah, he just stands there.
He has a high guard and he looks the part. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of unknowns here, but I think Ode Osbourne is going to end up getting the win somehow. I don't know if it's a decision. It could be. We talk about this a lot. The judges are, for the most part, swaying damage over control. Now, this is in Nashville, and so we don't know who the judges are, and that is...
Well, if it's in Nashville, they're probably racist, so actually I'm going to go with Asu.
Asu. Exactly.
He's a couple shades lighter than Ode.
Well, but they're going to be racist as hell, but are they racist against Ode, or are they racist against the Russian?
Foreigners.
Foreigners. Like, so who knows? It could go a lot of ways. But... no, but I'm actually serious about the judging. Look at the Jan Blachowicz fight that just happened. That was in Salt Lake. That 4 minutes and 20 seconds of that last round, Pereira was winning, but by nothing crazy. Jan was landing a couple good shots here and there, but that was Jan. He got that takedown with, I think, about 40 seconds left and did nothing with it. If he had just postured up and just like Donkey Kong punched for 20, 30 seconds and thrown, he won that fight. But he just sat there and lied there. And the judges see that, and they almost see that he was not trying, he was just holding. And they almost hold that against you at that point.
So this is funny. The other day, you and I were talking about competition and just competition experience. And I told you, I think I'll call him my first jiu-jitsu coach. I had one coach before that, but was like a drug addict, like not that good. So my first jiu-jitsu coach, I told you we would do 3 hours of practice every day, 2 hours of gi, 1 hour of no gi. But like 30 minutes of all of those sessions would be competition training. And I remember this is just exactly what you're saying. So in jiu-jitsu, you can go to a referee's decision. That means there's no points. The points are tied and the advantages are tied and the penalties are tied. Everything's tied, and then they're going to award the winner. And in jiu-jitsu, it doesn't matter if you're on top or on bottom. Usually they will give it to the guy on top if he's passing and aggressive. But the guy on bottom can win if he's attacking,
throwing submissions like crazy.
Yeah, it's whoever's trying to win more. So I remember having a match at Worlds against a really, really good guy. He actually had won Pan Am's no gi and gi that same year. So he was a really good guy. He was like number 2 in the world. So I went against him. Stalemate. I was playing guard. He was passing. And then with like 10 seconds left, and I remember my coach always saying this, he goes, with 10 seconds left in a stalemate match, all you do is throw a bullshit loop choke, and you just go for it as hard as you can, and you strain and pretend like you're doing, make some noises, and they're going to give you the win. Because at least you're pretending like you did something. And so if guys would just take guys down and just flail, you don't even have to hit, just flail enough to make it look like you're doing something, I think a lot of these rounds could be won. But the guys just take them down and they hold and they're tired and they stay there instead of just giving it all that they have.
It's optics. It's optics. It's
just
optics.
Like you said with hair.
Yeah.
I don't remember who it was. Clay Guida.
His hair's. Everyone thinks he's doing a ton of stuff. His hair's all over the place. It looks like Fraggle Rock.
But you were saying someone getting hit. I can't remember who it was.
Oh yeah.
But getting hit all the time. Their hair would go back and it's bad optics.
Yep.
So positive and negative optics with this.
Yeah, don't worry about that. I can rotate that in post. Lennox, leave it. Yeah. So. Yeah, now our producer over there is making note of. I don't even know if the camera's tilted or if this actual table is crooked right here.
Everything looked crooked. Right now.
It's not perfect, guys. We just wanted to get something out. The room still is. It's a progress. But no, we've spent too much time on this already. But last thing I'll say is this is going to be, I could see this as Ode doing the striking and a lot of the activity, and then Asu getting the takedown and holding. What are the judges going to award for it? And I think damage.
Me too.
Maybe put a little hair. By the end of this, you're going to have a beard.
Damn, that shit's gross.
What? Gosh.
Oh.
It's 4 rows of single barrel, you guys. If you guys know, I mean, come on. It's not, pappy, but nah. All right. I'm supposed to go. Sean Woodson, Marion Santos. I didn't.
No, new opponent now.
Another one?
Another one.
Who is it?
Dennis Buzukja.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, we know him.
Okay, we do.
Do you know him?
Yeah, I know Dennis Buzukja. He was, he's a Longo guy. He was throwing. He looked good. Man, so this is like the 4th opponent.
No, it literally is the 4th opponent.
For Woodson. So I
thought Myron lives. He got fat in Vegas. Like, why can't he fight now?
Yeah, that's crazy. So this is even another one. That's funny. So this is really interesting.
This is on the fly, guys, just so you know.
Yeah, this is on the fly. So I didn't know that even Buzukja had gotten switched. Woodson was looking for an opponent. I have 2 guys. I have Shimon Moraes and Bobby Moffitt, both with 2 different managers, both lobbying for this fight for their guys. So we've been really on top of this whole process of what's going on. Woodson was presented with multiple people. I'm assuming, because when this stuff happens like that, they will present the fighter with, if they go through the roster and nobody wants to fight on the roster last minute, then they go through the unsigned people and they'll present a list and they'll say, who do you want to fight? So Woodson apparently picked Marion over our 2 guys. And then, so I guess after Marion was out, he must have picked Buzukja over Shimon and Bobby as well.
Honestly, I'm really surprised by that because I'm surprised that he picked Santos because Santos is good.
Santos was
Myron.
Oh yeah,
Myron.
Yeah. Well, didn't he pick him? But then he wasn't able to make weight or something, right?
No, it's visa issues. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
I
is that
thought
what
he
it
was getting fat in Vegas training with Spider Girl. Like,
okay,
what happened?
No, he did choose Santos, and then
that's what I'm saying. I'm surprised he would choose Santos.
Yeah,
because I think Santos would have beat him.
Yeah, it's crazy. So anyway.
Well, you know him well.
Yes, I know Woodson well because Luis Saldana fought him.
Getting to watch that back was a treat.
That did they show me in the corner in between round 1 and 2?
Nope.
Okay, so literally what I said, if you guys I'm not going to get into that fight. That took my soul. In between round 1 and 2, as we're meeting, we were walking back to the corner or into the cage in the corner. I go to Luis. I said, what the F are you doing? Like, what are you doing? He's like, what? What do you mean? And I'm like, what do you mean? What do I mean? Like, what the hell is that? Like, what is going on? I mean, me and Eddie Char in the corner, as dumbfounded as I have ever been in a fight. And me and Eddie are like, dude, if he does that again, I'm throwing the towel in. Like, mid-fight, we're like, what the hell?
You're going to throw the towel in and he's winning?
Yeah, we're like, what is he doing? Like, what the hell is going on here? He's killing him. He's throwing. Like, what the hell was that? That was the most frustrating time I've ever cornered. That was insane. Anyway. I think Buzukja's tough. I think he's going to have a really hard time with Woodson's range on short notice. Woodson in his camp probably, I'm assuming, specifically chose Buzukja because they saw something. And I'm assuming he's going to win that based on last minute everything. And Woodson and his team specifically picking him over the number of other opponents given to him.
Well, geez,
that's all I'm going on.
No, I
like Dennis. I like all of that. That's where I'm going with it without tape.
I think on his Contender Series fight last year, I started off Contender super hot, and I think I put like $5,000 on him. I was kept free rolling bets. I think I hit every single one in the first 3 weeks, and Dennis was a big one for me. Made me sweat a lot in that Contender Series fight, if I remember correctly. I think he's got a lot of talent, a lot of skills in the world, but geez, fighting somebody that long. Yeah. It's tough.
It's hard.
It really is tough. Man, that length is a lot to get around. I think he's an educated striker, but Lou is a long guy too. Not that long, but he is a long guy.
Yeah, tall. 6 foot, 75-inch reach.
And honestly, a really good striker. He really is a good striker. I'd probably go Sean Woodson too. Like you said, all the factors are against Buzukja here. Buzukja, however you say his name, Dennis. Yeah, Woodson, volume, range. Before the Lou fight, he looked really good. Everyone was like, no, this dude's solid, myself included. I was like, man, he's great. And then Lou came out there and knocked his block off, and now everyone's like, dude, I can't wait to fade this guy. He's horrible. He's a little fragile. He's a little slow, but he does box well. And
Luis's striking and range are just gorgeous. Like, he has amazing striking before he gasses out.
Is he back at Fight Ready?
No, he's living in Iowa these days.
So what's funny is 2 times. So I got tickets for the Oliveira Gaethje fight when it was in Phoenix, just to sit in the fighter section. And I go with Vanessa, and then of course I'm sitting right next to Lou. Like, he's right next to me. And then C-Rod invites me to I can't remember who headlined it, but it was the Patty Pimblett versus Jared Gordon fight. And we're drunk in Vegas. We're sitting there, and we're just having a good time. We're throwing bets down. And then just look to my left, and freaking Lou's sitting there by himself.
Just quiet.
Didn't say a word to anybody.
The most quiet human ever.
Nobody next to him on either side, like for 2 seats. And we like look at him like, Lou? And he's like, oh, dude, what's up? Like, okay.
Lou's
All right,
awesome.
what's up, man?
Man, let's get in Jake Hadley, Cody Durden.
All right.
This fight I like a lot as a fan. And honestly, I think it's a solid bet, too.
All right, well, let's hear it. Let's hear what you got.
Okay, I'll go. Man, Hadley's striking is clean. Dude is fast. He's got that Philly shell that he rolls up. Good kicks, good body work. Wrestling is the weakest point of his game, but he attacks jiu-jitsu so well from the bottom to scramble back up. And he doesn't do the traditional thing that we see a lot in MMA where people turn their back and try to get up, which goes into Cody Durden's game, where he can jump on him, hang on him, backpack him, or look for a submission. He plays guard, and he throws heel hooks, and he throws omoplatas, and he throws triangles. And then if he doesn't get that stuff, he scrambles up so well. His cardio is great. Honestly, like, he's almost a 10 out of 10 out of everything except for
How
his
long
wrestling.
he plays on his back and his wrestling.
Yeah, his wrestling. Durden, on the other hand, is a phenomenal wrestler, and he's gotten a lot better. I was very critical of him when he first made the UFC.
He wasn't nearly as good.
No, but he was working a full-time job. So he finally just after I think his second UFC fight, he quit his job, and now he's just a full-time UFC fighter. He looked really good against Charles Johnson.
Now, is he still fighting Bruno? Because we have Bruno.
He is still scheduled to fight Bruno, has this fight scheduled, and then he's supposed to be fighting Bruno afterwards. So, oh man, ooh,
we called in the favors.
Yeah, our production assistant over here, Kindle, brought us some ice and some sparkle water.
You serial killer, you like the room temperature. Is that what you want, room temperature?
Yeah, always. Bring me the room temperature water. You grab our stuff, whatever. Give me whatever. I'm good. Yeah, bring me whatever. I'll drink whatever. So, on the other side, we have Cody Durden, whose wrestling is great. His cardio is great. His aggressiveness is great. His submission defense looked good against Mota, but that was a tired Mota playing short notice off his back. So it's hard to really gauge that. And then Durden's striking is not phenomenal. It's wild and it's somewhat effective, but it's wild and loopy. And I think I just see Hadley cleaning him up standing, just because it is so wild. And if he stands too much, Hadley's sharp, fast punches down the middle are going to start finding the range. Then it's going to force Durden to shoot, which is going to go right into a triangle or a guillotine type of situation where even if he doesn't finish it, he's going to have to scramble out. And I think Hadley either finds top position or ends up back to his feet. I have a hard time thinking of a path to victory for Durden outside of a decision, but just stylistically, I don't know that. I mean, how is he going to get a decision? It's going to be like lay and pray and hang on him, but I just don't believe that he's going to be able to hold Hadley down. I think for him to win, you've got to believe that he can hold Hadley down for 15 minutes. I don't believe he's going to be able to do that, and I really like Hadley.
Could he hold him down for 10 minutes?
I don't think so. I think Hadley is such a wiggly guy that I really like Hadley here. And then even if Durden is shooting, Hadley rips the body so well. He's a good fighter. He's almost as good of a fighter as Four Roses is whiskey.
Oh, Jesus. This is good whiskey?
I mean, it's not like phenomenal. This isn't like amazing, but it's a respectable Four Roses single barrel. It's solid. It's just a solid, like.
I'm sorry you guys are watching me go through this, but I figured this would be fun for the pod, like for me to have my third time ever drinking whiskey in my 27 years.
I don't have a good selection right now of whiskey, so I've been on the Michter's train, the Baker's private selection. Actually, Maker's 46 has a private selection that I love as well. I just am out, and I've got Four Roses right now.
All right, fair enough. It's all right. It's all right. You know, I won't be back. I drink like a woman. I drink wine and like Moscow mules.
All right, so what do you got on this?
Man, this is a tough one. I agree with you. Hadley's old Cage Warrior stuff was really impressive. Like his film looked really, really good, made really good decisions. The Nascimento fight was concerning for me. Just his willingness to play there, his willingness to get bodied. And I would say Durden is a lot more, I don't know how to say this. Sticky is not the right word, but almost kind of sticky. The way that he didn't leave Charles Johnson alone makes him a super tough fight for anybody, especially if your takedown defense.
I think Charles Johnson, for as much as we have liked him in the past, seeing him against the guys in the UFC, there are holes. He's good at what he does, but he cannot adjust, and there are just major holes in that guy's game.
But his takedown defense is decent, and his get-up game is decent.
Yeah, it is.
His get-up game is better than Hadley's get-up game, and his takedown defense is better than Hadley's takedown defense. And he couldn't get away from Cody Durden. I still think the cardio is an issue. Honestly, I was very impressed with Durden's cardio in that Johnson fight. Mm-hmm. It's hard to shoot that many times and grapple that hard for 15 minutes.
And even when he was dead tired, he would shoot and he would run and blast those takedowns.
I had a Charles Johnson bet, and I kept going, nope, this is the time he's going to finally separate and start throwing. Didn't happen. Yeah. But honestly, I think the power of Hadley is going to be a big difference, too.
Charles' speed, man. The speed of his punches is phenomenal.
Charles doesn't have the that punching power that Hadley does. And like you said, working the body, the tight boxing. He's so much set up, so many feints, so much playing at range. Whereas Hadley, I think, is a lot more comfortable in the pocket, sitting there with you. The biggest, for me, it really comes down to this. How smart does Hadley want to be? Is he going to play with a dumb game plan and be arrogant like he was against Nascimento and hang out on his back and think that he can make miracles happen?
But I think he did great against Nascimento in so many areas where he would use his jiu-jitsu to get on top of Nascimento, who has phenomenal jiu-jitsu. What he did wrong is actually when he got on top, as he was a little too arrogant, and Nascimento would re-attack jiu-jitsu and re-sweep, re-attack the legs, re-climb up. Hadley did a great job of getting off of his back and on top, but then Nascimento would reverse the position. It was his own arrogance in his top game jiu-jitsu that got him in trouble, not necessarily the bottom game, him hanging out there too long.
Yeah, I think that Durden's just a sticky fighter, which sucks. It's annoying to bet against. It's, for you guys that are really degenerates, like Claire Guthrie is one of the worst female fighters on the planet, yet she wins so many fights because she's just so sticky and freaking annoying. She just never goes away. And Durden, I think, is a lot more skilled than that. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's a lot more skilled than that. But that's a tough fighter to bet against. But I think I'm with you here. Hadley's hands, his power, he is crafty. And as somebody like me, who I wrestle and get on top, and that's my game, people that are wormy and squirmy like that and are always attacking submissions, it just drains your power bar a lot more. Yeah. Even guys that stand up a lot, if you got your cardio to re-wrestle, that's fine. But it's the guys that are throwing up submissions that you constantly have to defend and don't give you time to just relax and settle a position, drains your power bar. What about Hadley round 3 knockouts? I think that looks great.
Yeah. I think Hadley submission. I think he's going to hurt him. I think he's going to beat him up standing. I think Durden is going to take a bad shot. And then he ends up in a guillotine or a triangle.
I've never liked anyone from Atlanta. All right, next up.
Billy Quarantillo and Damon Jackson.
Yeah, this one feels like a gift to me. I like Billy Q a lot here. I was looking at level of competition. I was looking at fight styles. So it's weird. Both of these guys are like awkward bodies.
Yeah.
They're very awkward bodies. So you look at Damon Jackson's striking. His striking's actually pretty crisp, I think. It's straight. It's clean.
Well, all right.
But
I know what you're talking about in terms of like, look, there's the eye test. If you were to like measure the angles of his punches, they are straight.
Yes.
And he does the quote-unquote correct stuff. But it is awkward
it's clunky.
to look at.
Yeah.
It's very clunky and is not natural for him.
Okay,
to be
I'm glad that
striking.
you understand what I'm like trying to express here, because that's what I was trying to say. I didn't know how to say it because
Well, his hands are up, his chin is down, his punches come straight, but he is not a great striker. Like, his strikes are not comfortable.
Okay, yeah. And Billy is the opposite. He's technically atrocious, but he's so comfortable just standing there and being in the pocket and swinging with guys. Go back and watch the Shane Burgos fight. I thought he lost that 30-27, but he had a lot of moments that were really, 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 really good in that fight. And the thing about Billy Q is that he doesn't die. He never dies. What was impressive is his leg almost got knocked off, and he's still shooting takedowns and hitting Burgos in the third round, even off that. The Gabriel Benitez fight was incredibly impressive, the way that he digs deep. Alex Hernandez, he just wears on these guys. He throws high volume. He wrestles. He grapples. He does all this kind of crazy stuff. And even on the bottom, like we just talked about, he's a squirmy dude on the bottom too, even from his early film. So, man, Damon, who's shown to have cardio issues, who has seemed like on the decline like crazy, who's gotten chinned so many times, and Billy throws awkward, but he does throw hard. Man, it's hard for me to ignore Billy Quarantillo here. He's not fighting Edson Barbosa. He's fighting Damon Jackson. I don't think Damon can hold him down for 3 rounds and use that as a game plan. So give me Billy Q.
So that's everything on paper, or not on paper. Everything you just said sounds 100% logical. And then I can't get Alex Hernandez in round 1 having a head and arm triangle on Billy Q. If that's Damon Jackson, he's finishing that arm triangle.
Do you really? I don't think anyone's going to submit Billy Q.
You don't think so?
No, he's got good jiu-jitsu.
I just wonder. I think Damon Jackson is first of all, he's a large featherweight, a lot bigger than Billy Q.
Is he really? What are the heights on them?
I think Billy Q's listed at 5'9" and Damon at 5'11". So it's 2 inches, so it's not crazy, but man, when Camuela fought Damon was huge, and I was like, oh dear, that's a large human. He just gets that body, like he's just relentless with his grappling, and I know that he fades, and I get it. I just wonder if, like, because he does have moments. The Pat Sabatini fight, like, we all assumed that he was going to get murdered by Sabatini because of his cardio, and then of course he chins him. I don't think he's going to chin Billy Q,
but he could. I mean, he's coming off a knockout loss.
Yeah, and I wonder. I think Billy Q's got a Homer Simpson this. He has got to.
But that's how Billy Q wins every single fight he's ever been in.
Absolutely.
He's got one of the craziest fight styles.
He can't. But man, Billy Q, even when he is, he will just end up on the bottom so much, and just in these bad positions. So I'm with you. I do lean Billy Q here. I think everybody is probably discounting Damon Jackson in this fight.
I don't think everybody is. I think a lot of people are on Damon Jackson. But one thing I have to ask about, what do you think about Damon's tattoos?
Just the 2 line bars? Or what is that it? Or
yeah, that's a little suspect.
I was looking at that as I was watching film, and I thought, I wonder what that's about.
I think that's a male stripper kind of thing.
Is it? I don't even know what that is.
I don't know. It just looks suspect to me. He didn't look like in his right mind. I can't back a guy that's got 2 lines like that.
2 lines. I don't know what it is, but I was like, I wonder what that is. Like, I don't know. Gosh, let me look at Billy Q. Billy Q is beaten. Here's the thing, though, you guys. I mean, Billy Q has lost to Edson Barbosa, Shane Burgos, and Gavin Tucker. He beat Gabe Benitez, Alex Hernandez, Spike Carlisle. You know what I mean? So those are solid. And then you look at Damon Jackson, who beat our boy Camuela, and Billy Q beat him as well. But Camuela,
he actually beat the legendary Kama Worthy too. If you didn't see that one on there,
yeah. And I mean, look at who Damon Jackson is losing to: Dan Ige, Ilya Topuria, Movlid, Kabalayev. That's pretty much it.
Mid.
Dude, these guys are solid. Man, I think Billy Q's cardio will pull it off, But man, it would not surprise me to see Damon Jackson.
Damon doesn't like getting hit though.
He does not at all.
He really crumples and he shies away once he gets hit. And the thing is that Billy's striking is horrible. I wonder who his coaches were at the beginning that are like, no, you're doing the right thing, as he's like ducking his head and every single punch is just a looping like overhand. No, Billy, that looks great. Good job. Like, we're on the mitts. That looks awesome. But man, he throws hard, and he throws hard in 3 rounds. And he looks dead tired, but he kind of comes out with some fresh.
I don't think he throws hard. I don't think he has great power. I think he just has cardio and volume.
I think he has power.
I think he pushes a pace.
When he fought Camur, he had power. In that round, when he was hitting him, it was hard clubbing shots.
I think because Camur was literally just covering up because his rib was ripped out, torn.
But he's done that to a lot of guys, is where he gets them to cover up like that because of the pace, the pressure, the fatigue, whatever it is. And then he gets him where he wants him, and then he starts clubbing shots.
I'm going to be a contrarian. I'm going Damon.
All right,
and I'm sad about it.
We're split on this one.
I'm sad about it. I'm sad about it.
2 lines, my ass.
All right, Jeremiah Wells, Carlston Harris. Go.
Jeremiah Wells. First of all, watching the Semmelsberger-Wells fight, how on earth could Wells come back and win that fight? He got chinned like 9 times in the first round. He's got all the muscle mass in the world, was working hard for every takedown, every exchange, and somehow still wins that fight. Is the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life. Honestly, that's the fight that I had to watch, and I was like, no, Uros Medic is going to win that fight because I don't think Semmelsberger is as good as everybody thinks that he is. But, man, I think I don't want to say a guarantee, but one confident spot is this fight's not going the distance. I don't
at all.
No, not at all. And the reason is both of these guys throw so unconventionally. Carlston Harris, God, he's got such an athletic body, and I love watching him strike, but is the least technical. He paws like a teenage schoolgirl.
He swats,
but it's so powerful. Yep. And Wells is just smaller, but his punches are tighter, and he hits he puts weight behind every punch that he has. Obviously, he's jacked up. So, man, these guys are really similar. They're both heavy, awkward punchers that have jiu-jitsu. And I would say Wells is much better top game, with Carlston much better Darce Anaconda bottom game. Honestly, I've never been a Carlston believer just because I think he's skilled and he's fun to watch. But I think that cardio is a big deal for him. And I think he's going to end up on his back a few times with Wells on top. And I think he's always going to be a liability to get chinned by Wells because he's so wide and loopy with his punches, and Wells stays a little bit cleaner and tighter, and he's willing to throw down. So fight doesn't go for me and Wells, but not a lot of confidence because this is a high volatility fight, I believe.
I don't know that Wells is clean. Everything he throws is from looping from his hips.
But he's 3 feet shorter, so it gets there faster.
It really does Wells knock Carlston out before Carlston darts his Wells as he's clubbing his way in. I mean, really, that's
pretty much.
That's the fight. I mean, that really is the fight here. I lean Wells off of aggression and cage wrestling. I don't know that Carlston is going to get Wells down and get on top. And you know what I mean? So then the ball's kind of in the Wells court. He's so aggressive. And his cardio is, as weird as it is, he's had cardio issues in the past.
But since he's been in the UFC, he's got on that MMA lab juice.
He just is never tired. He's
it's crazy.
Just goes and goes and goes. And he does a lot of the right stuff. He gets the takedowns. I don't know that that he's going to get submitted by Carlston. So, yeah, I lean Wells. Fight doesn't go the distance is the smart play there.
God, we talked about it so much time. His pre-UFC tape, remember, guys, we talk this every single time.
Oh my
I came over to this house right here. This is where we were, 2.5 years ago. And I said, guys, I think Warley is going to kill him. This is going to be my biggest bet I've ever made. His tape was horrible. Bad cardio, bad jiu-jitsu. Honestly, his wrestling was pretty spastic and hectic. And since he's been in the UFC, everything has been forgiven. It's all been better.
Yep. I think, is he undefeated in the UFC right now?
Yeah,
I think he's 3-4-0.
Yeah. Court McGee. Honestly, I really wish we got that Court McGee fight.
I know. Yeah, he's 4-0.
Unbelievable.
Crazy. All right, we've got, Raoni Barcelos and Kyler Phillips.
Oh.
Kyler Phillips coming off a 6-month suspension for Austrian, which is the same thing that Sean O'Malley
No comment.
got suspended for. And it's the same thing that Tanquino got suspended for.
No comment.
It's probably tainted supplements. Bad. Anyway, Barcelos. We've loved that guy forever. We've been on the Barcelos train. And Kyler is wild and athletic and unpredictable and will gas out and will, just crazy. But the way that Kyler moves in and out is really amazing. The way that he covers distance, the looping kicks, heel kicks, side kicks, everything, kind of wild. He has a really long reach. And, of course, his wrestling. Everything is good. The guy is really, really good. The only knock that I think you could have on Kyler is his cardio and fight IQ a little bit. And I don't even know fight IQ just because I think he does a lot of the right stuff. I think he's so reckless.
He's arrogant.
He's arrogant and reckless. And
I would say his fight IQ is way more of a problem than his cardio.
Yeah. He's just crazy and just arrogant and reckless. And not in a bad way, like knocking him as a human or as a fighter, but in terms of like winning and losing and where his strengths and weaknesses go, it falls.
He'd be top 5 if he just did less.
Yep. Barcelos is just good everywhere. The thing with Barcelos right now, and you just see this in older fighters, he is not taking the fight to people. Barcelos stands there and he is okay with whatever people want to do, and he is countering. He just has that high guard and he just kind of inches in. But he's not going to press the pace of Kyler. And he's just okay with whatever happens. And so then I think, like, him moving in and out, Kyler, I mean, that's going to Barcelos isn't going to catch him coming in and out. The wild kicks coming from the side, those are going to go around that big wide frame. Not like wide frame, but not tight frame, the way that he has the stance. And then he just isn't going to go get Kyler. And I think even if Kyler goes to a decision, Kyler is so busy that I think Barcelos has got to finish Kyler, because I think even if it goes to a decision, just the busyness factor of Kyler is going to be on the side of, just on him. And so, man, I love Barcelos. He just looks so slow and stiff right now that I just don't know how he wins this fight. So
I understand why you feel that way, but he's really not slow and stiff. He's still so fast and so sharp and such high volume. Like,
is he high volume though?
Yeah, he really is.
In was it 2 fights ago? Not his last one. He got knocked out pretty quickly.
Trevin?
Yeah. Just
but Trevin is one of those guys that doesn't fight anybody. He stands back the entire time and he's loaded, but he doesn't actually fight anybody. When he fought Victor Henry, that was like one of the most strikes I've ever seen in any fight ever.
And look at how much trouble he had with Victor moving laterally,
but Victor
and not being there.
Victor fills the space a lot more than Kyler does.
Yeah,
Victor beat Kyler.
Yeah, Kyler mauled him for the first round and then death gassed.
Okay, but that's a fight's a fight.
Yeah, Kyler's not in that same space.
He wasn't even in the USADA pool yet, and he lost that fight. So imagine now. And
so do you think Barcelos wins?
Okay, well here's the thing. If Raoni was 3 years younger, Raoni's probably one of my favorite fighters of all time.
I'm with you.
He is one of my favorite fighters of all time. I've never seen anyone have as complete of an MMA game, and he's got the worst managers ever. Why can't he have the Sean O'Malley build-up? Why can't he fight Chris Mutino and all these guys?
Well, they tried to, but he was injured so often throughout his career.
Now you have to fight
injury after injury, so he could never build that steam, and this is a result of that.
Watching him walk around fight week, because I think I've been around him twice now, he just moves so stiff and so slow, and he looks like dinosaur bones. But when he fights, his jab is popping like crazy. He's putting combos together. He actually looks really clean and really good. For some reason, he's just a tad bit less than all these guys, and it breaks my heart. A tad bit less than Camur, a tad bit less than Victor Henry, a tad bit less than all these guys, and it breaks my heart because he's so good. If he was 3-5 years younger, I'm taking Raoni all day.
Well, but he's not in Kyler via Father Time.
Honestly, it's Kyler via Father Time, and honestly, nothing more than that. If you look at their two skill sets, and this is me being a huge Kyler fan, because, man, when I was coming up, I watched a local Kyler fight, and he fought some can, but I watched him and went, dude, this kid's going to be amazing. He's going to be a UFC champion. He's amazing. truth be told, I prefer a high volume jab and a low kick game with good wrestling and good jiu-jitsu over a crazy spinning kick, flashy kicks, flashy, one-off overhands. I prefer the more conventional game. I think it wins fights more. But Father Time, Kyler being who Kyler is, honestly, one concern for me, though, is literally he popped.
Yeah.
Not saying he did or didn't do anything. Well, he did do something, whatever it was. But
so you're wondering, does he look a little slower, a little not as great cardio, or a little whatever?
Exactly. And the confidence of knowing that he doesn't have whatever it was going into this fight.
Okay.
Does that change anything for him? But, I mean, if we're going to get real here, I love Raoni so much. It's weird. He's the best fighter ever to be used as, like,
a gatekeeper.
And it breaks my heart. But Kyler's younger. Kyler's faster. Kyler can wrestle. I've heard stories of Kyler's jiu-jitsu. I've heard him going with Tonquinho and doing... That's a black belt world champion, gi and no gi. And I've heard he does really well.
Yeah, it's right on par with him.
So, yep. I mean, it's hard to say that Kyler's not going to win this fight. I got Kyler here.
Yeah. Man, next up we have 6'27" Ignacio Bahamondes versus 3'3" Ludovit Klein. Go.
Yeah, for me, this one's Ignacio. Don't need to spend a lot of time on it. I can see a world where Ignacio gets chinned. John McDessie had an amazing fight against Ignacio. And I think Ludovit, a lot of time, it's weird. I don't know where Ludovit is because beginning of his UFC tenure, he was maybe overrated. Everyone thought he was the killer. Remember when he fought Nate the Train? We were so high on Ludovit. And then he lost that fight, and everyone goes, this guy sucks. He had a close fight with Trezano, and he lost to Nate the Train.
Mason Jones comes
And then Mason Jones, and he beat the piss out of Mason. And so now he's looked at really good. And then he fights Jai Herbert, and everyone goes, oh, Ludovit's going to kill Jai. And I think I was one of the only guys that was like, no, I think Jai will do pretty well this fight. And then went to a draw. So where the hell does everybody rank Ludovit? How good is he actually? And I think he is good. I think he legitimately is very good. He's better than what people give him credit for. I don't think his gas tank's as bad as most people think that it is. However, he's fighting a guy who's 6'3", who's kickboxing. It's like one of those that you watch. It's almost like Uros Medic. Medic, when you watch his Contender Series and his early fights, you're like, whoa, this guy's different. Like, he is a little different. It looks really good. That's how Bahamondes looks a lot of the times. He's just calculated. He's got a good chin. He hangs in the pocket. Like, he's a very, very good fighter. Switches stances. And now he's adding into that takedown defense. Stand-ups. He's at VFS, which I love. Carlos Hernandez, right, who's got great game planning. Bilal. Man, it's hard for me not to go Bahamondes. He's the younger, faster fighter, longer, better cardio, very good awareness. Like, I know everybody in the world's on this play, but I think there's a good reason.
Yeah, what Bahamondes, of course, the height differential is huge. And what Bahamondes does really well, first of all, a lot of it had a hard time finding his range with Jai Herbert, who's not quite who's tall, but not quite as tall as Bahamondes, of course. And she's kind of on the outside right there. And what Bahamondes does really well is he switches stances. But he's very fluid with the stance switches, and he kicks first. He kicks offensively, and he punches defensively. So he will throw kicks from either stance. That's almost his jab. And then what he does after he's kicking, and as people come in, then he will either fire some punches, or as he's moving away and people are drawing or are coming in to fight him, then he punches as he goes. So defensively, he punches, moving back, he'll punch a lot. And then he kicks offensively. And I want to say offensively, but also as a setup to draw people in to punch or counter. But with Ludovit, he's gonna have a hard time because as Bahamondes is pressing forward, he is going to be switching stances and moving. And he actually kind of moves a little bit like Dustin Jacoby, the way that he'll kind of like pepper and switch stances in and out. And he does that forward and backwards. That's going to cause a lot of issues for Ludovit to find his range and how he's going to fight him. I think the only way that Ludovit can win this is Ludovit is really good at catching kicks and getting takedowns off of it. I think that he's got to hope that Bahamondes throws enough middle kicks that he can catch and turn into takedowns. and then of course grind him out, beat him up, kind of ground and pound. Is that something to bank on?
No, because Bahamondes gets up.
Yeah, he gets up and he throws a lot of low kicks and a lot of head kicks. So then now you start reaching for a middle kick and your leg and your head are open.
And Ludovit's best strike is what? His
left middle kick.
Head kick.
Head kick, yeah. Left middle, left head, yeah.
He can't reach.
Yeah, I don't know.
How could you reach? It's 6'3" and he's switching stances.
I like Bahamondes here. I think it's probably a decision. I think the over is probably decent because these guys are both tough. But
I think Bahamondes can put him away. That cardio could be a factor with a guy that throws as much as Bahamondes does.
Yeah. All right, next up we have Tanner Boser and Aleksa Camur. And Camur's coming off a long layoff. Boser is coming down in weight. He fought his last fight at this weight. Who is that? Ian Cutelaba?
Yep.
Now, Boser looks a lot better at 205. He actually looked good against
his abs.
Ian. Yeah. Long reach. Actually had some fast hands. He was fast as a heavyweight, and now I think he's still fast for a light heavyweight in the grand scheme of things overall. Aleksa Camur, he lost to Will Knight, and that was just he clinched with Will too much and would end up on the bottom. And Will Knight on top of you is a force. For as bad as Will Knight has been in his last couple fights, he gets on top of you. That's that. And then he's fighting...
like Jason Love.
Yeah. Then he's fighting Nick Negumereanu, who just won't die. I mean, the dude is just in your face always. Boser doesn't do that. Boser's not that pressure guy. So he's not the pressure guy, and he's not... Aleksa Camur, actually, his cardio looks really good until he starts wrestling. And then that's when he starts to fade out a little bit. He's been out for 2 years. He's had some fights. He's got a really good, crisp jab. He has good head movement. He's fast. He's athletic. And he actually does a lot of the right stuff on the cage. Boser is very serviceable everywhere. He's not, horrible anywhere. He's not amazing anywhere. I think he's kind of fast for a heavyweight moving down.
Just kind of there.
Yeah, but he doesn't really... He's not attacking. He's not pressing. There's not a game plan.
He's very Canadian in his fight style.
He's very Canadian in his fight style. He's just there, and if he wins, he wins. If he doesn't, he doesn't.
And he'll always say thank you.
Yeah, he was always going to be very polite, whether he wins or loses. And, man, I got to go with the younger guy the UFC is pushing against a guy who's 1-4 in his last 5. They want Aleksa Camur to win. That's the guy they want to push. I think they're sad that Negumereanu and Will Knight beat him, and now he's coming off a layoff. I think they're giving him the right fight. Who knows what we're going to see with a layoff, but I think I like Aleksa Camur here after 2 years.
Okay, there's 2 big layoff fights in this card that I have no opinions on, so this will be one of them. I remember watching Aleksa Camur back in the day, and I liked his skills. His boxing looks very good for his weight class. Big athletic kid, so... And Boser, I can't believe you didn't say it this time.
What did I say? What?
Well, because I always say he's a nothing burger.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was kind of the original.
No, yeah, I was going to let that for you. I was going to leave that for
okay,
you.
yeah, the most original nothing burger.
Yep.
Zero process. One thing that you kind of always said to me is we were talking about this the other day. As an amateur, when I started out, I always knew how I was going to go win. I was going to I had no striking, so I was just going to go shoot in, take someone down, take their back, choke them out. And that was how I was going to go do it. And you watch Tanner Boser. How does he win? Does he knock guys out? Does he, throw low kicks until someone can't walk and then beat them up that way? Does he take them down and grind them out? Does he take their backs? He doesn't do anything. He has no idea what he's doing. He's just there, and he's got fine enough skills and fine enough mechanics, but has no... I don't think he lays in bed at night and goes, nope, this is the fight. I'm taking him down, punching him until he turns his back, and I'm choking him out. It's never happened with him. He's just yeah, I can do all this stuff.
Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, wherever the fight goes, I'll be ready. And I don't like that kind of fight. So I'll trust you on this one. I'll go Aleksa Camur. I like his skills. I like his athleticism, his age. And, they're not usually setting up the guy who's 1-4 in the last 5 to get another victory. They're usually ready to cut that contract.
All right, let's move on. Gavin Tucker, Diego Lopez.
Okay, well, this is the other one.
Okay.
With the long layoff.
And a 37-year-old
God
age.
This just sucks because Man, Gavin was so good back in the day.
Freaking amazing.
He was amazing. He was so good. And the problem that I have here, again, I wish Gavin was, 10 years younger. Not 5, 10 years younger. 37's rough. 37 off, his last fight is the worst knockout ever. He's training at some small gym just with some guy like kind of holding pads for him. What the hell's he been up to? All kinds of injuries and all kinds of other stuff. Man, it's hard to say. The game has come a long way. And when I look at Diego Lopez, I never loved Diego. His fight from Contender Series was an awful look for him when Joanderson Brito just took him down and grinded him out for 3 rounds. I usually hate that kind of fight style where you're just throwing up submissions off your back. But his striking in the Evloev fight looked much improved. I'm a big Fury guy, and he looked good in Fury. His striking is clean. He's big. He's athletic. He attacks a lot off his back, and I'm not a big submission guy. Well, me personally, I'm a submission guy, but off the
for
bat,
tape, for tape, for bets,
hate that.
yeah.
But man, he's really freaking dangerous with that, and he can put guys in bad positions. Gavin is just kind of a smaller wrestler, and I worry that he's going to find himself trouble even if he gets the takedowns. Standing on the feet, I worry about the length. I worry about the layoff. As good as Gavin was, man, I think this is Diego Lopez fight here.
The layoff in the 37 is a thing. What Diego Lopez does well. First of all, he's tall. He's huge for the division. He's massive. He's got decent cardio for a short notice fight. He pushed it and he gassed out.
God, he went toe-to-toe with one of the best guys in the world in his UFC debut.
Yeah.
That is so impressive.
But I think he probably caught him off guard a little bit as well. I think a lot of that was like, hey, I'm Evloev. I'm fighting some unranked no-name guy coming up. And then, whoa, you caught me slipping for a little bit.
Nobody messes with Fury FC.
Rewatching that tape, though, I don't think Evloev was as hurt as I remember him live. And I don't think Lopez looked as good on tape as I remembered it live. Maybe I was just so shocked that whatever. Thing with Gavin Tucker is Gavin Tucker gets hit with straight rights. We saw it, that's kind of hit. We saw it with Choi, actually. Choi, because Gavin Tucker would throw those naked low kicks, inside low kicks, against an opposite stance fighter. Gavin Tucker is a southpaw. And he would just get hit with that straight right kind of again and again. And then, of course, he got the takedown. He got the submission. And we saw it with Dan Ige. He kind of rushed in. Ige stepped back and then countered with a straight as well. That said, Zombie, who trains with us, beat Ige, said that Ige was the hardest puncher he's ever felt. So he said that guy hits harder than anyone. We said, who is the hardest puncher? It's Dan Ige, hands down. Not even anything. So Lopez doesn't throw a straight right. Lopez, I think his best punch is his left hook. And that right hand, a lot of time, he kind of almost punches down on it. He doesn't snipe it forward right there. Gavin Tucker's striking is actually really educated. I just don't think he's good there. And what I mean by that is he's not a bad striker by any means. He does all the right stuff. He makes all the right reads. Some people have an aptitude for certain things, and striking is not his aptitude. His cage wrestling, holy hell, it is gorgeous. The stuff that he does on the cage, think about how many people have body lock, have a takedown, whatever, and then they leg reap. He doesn't leg reap the same way that like a Damian Maia. Damian Maia scoops low at the leg, he turns his waist out, and he sits you on the ground. Gavin Tucker will stay on the position, and he actually scoops his leg under and peels your ankle off forward as if he was lifting your ankle up. And so you end up falling down right where you're at onto your knee versus onto your butt backwards. And then if you watch him against in the Choi fight, and you watch him in the Quarantillo fight, his transitions, once people are down, to grabbing the ankle and turning and rotating are flawless. Honestly, it's some of the best, if not the best cage wrestling I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
And
you're talking Sabatini, Sean Brady.
Yep. Sabatini is more effective with it. So Sabatini is more effective with the way that he cage wrestles because I think he's stronger, and I think he just manhandles people a little bit more.
And a lot more autistic.
Yeah, definitely more autistic. But in terms of the technical prowess of knowing going from one thing. This dude is playing chess when other people are playing checkers.
It drives me crazy because watching his debut and watching his first few fights, man, the guy is a freaking star. Yes. Everyone going crazy for him. And you're like, man, this guy, he's going to compete for titles someday. He's so freaking good. And then he's gone fishing. Like, what's the dude? The dude who fought CDF and then and got knocked out by Kevin Lee?
Dude, I don't even know.
The wrestler, Gillespie.
Oh, Gregor Gillespie. Yes.
They remind me like of each other a little bit. We're like, these guys are like solid, and then they're just
they just are gone. Yeah. Gavin Tucker's been dealing with some injuries. But anyway, I think the only way Lopez wins this actually is by KO TKO. I think Gavin Tucker is going to chain wrestle. I don't think the jiu-jitsu is going to play almost at all. Because Tucker's not going to shoot from the outside in the open where Lopez can pull guard. He's going to push him in the cage and start lacing legs. And then he's going to be in a dag ride position, half guard position, scorpion position. I don't know. I mean, Lopez is going to try in jiu-jitsu again because he is good at jiu-jitsu. But I think pure jiu-jitsu is not going to play into it because of the way that Tucker is going to ride him out. And I think Tucker's jiu-jitsu is good enough to not get caught in those things. I think that Lopez has got to snipe Tucker down the middle. I think I like Tucker here, but again, it's a long layoff. He's 37.
What's the odds here? Sorry, I'm just pulling this up right now.
I don't know on this one.
Let's see. So we have Gavin Tucker's plus 153.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a decent bet. I think the UFC wants Lopez to win. They saw what he did to Evloev on short notice. He's a fast, young kid with bangs. I mean, I guess that's a thing now.
Oh, it's a thing.
He has bangs.
Fury FC does not mess around.
They love their bangs. So, I wouldn't surprise me to see Lopez, but I think I like Tucker here with the grappling upside.
All right.
Dustin, Jacoby, Kennedy, and Nzechukwu. Man, like, all things to me point to Jacoby. I'm going to make this kind of short. All things to me point to Jacoby in striking, in movement, and all of this stuff. But Jacoby is getting a little older, and he's slowing down a little bit.
More chinny, like we always thought he would be.
A little bit more chinny. And Nzechukwu is just getting better and better and better. So it really is crazy to see. Jacoby, good long straight punches, good fight IQ. He can offensively.
It's a good fight IQ against basic people, but even in that last fight, there was a lot of times where it wasn't so good. Yeah, he wrestled at the most inopportune times and wouldn't wrestle at the most inopportune times. Like, it bugged me.
But he doesn't play off his back, and if he gets taken down, he will get back up. His cage wrestling is decent. My knock on Jacoby is, it's what we were saying a little bit earlier, is like, how are you going to win a fight? And we used to know when he first came back to the UFC, it was going to be low kicks and striking.
Jab and low kick. That's it.
Where's your freaking low kick, Jacoby? Yeah. Like, he's not low kicking. And then he's not throwing with power. He's just peppering and peppering and peppering. Like, there's no hate in his heart. He's a little bit older.
And watch his Contender Series fights. And when he started coming back, he was knocking dudes the hell out.
Swinging like crazy.
He looked amazing. And then he transformed to... he thought he was Floyd Mayweather, where he's got to just point guys the whole time. And I'm like, what happened?
And then on the other side, you have Nzechukwu, who has been a nothing burger, as you would say, who in a Homer Simpson, as I would say, who would literally just take a beating until people are like,
handsome ass Carlos Ulberg.
Yeah. And then he ends up winning winning these fights. And he's huge. His wrestling is getting better. His jiu-jitsu is decent. And honestly, he has decent fight IQ given his skill set. Like, he kind of knows how to win. I was really, really, really lobbying for Nzechukwu to win here in my head. But I think Jacoby's actually going to win this. And the reason why is you look at Devin Clark, who had Nzechukwu hurt, death gassed. You look at Carlos Ulberg, who had him hurt, death gassed. You look at these guys and the way that they're fighting, where I don't think Jacoby is going to death gas, and I think he's just going to stay on the outside and pick them apart. And I think Jacoby's willingness to stay on the outside and unwillingness to just swing for the fences and try and kill people I think that's actually going to do him a benefit here by just peppering Nzechukwu and not death gassing. And so I think Nzechukwu kind of waits for you to screw up and is there when you screw up. I just don't know that Jacoby is going to be there screwing up for Nzechukwu to really capitalize on.
There had been a long time. So, guys, I mean, if you guys have been following me a long time, you know Jacoby's my guy. Like,
yep.
He's always been my guy. I put $40,000. That was like my first big bet I ever made was I went to Vegas and put 40 grand on Jacoby. So I love Dustin Jacoby. He is my guy. That being said, as soon as that fight ended, that was against Darren Stewart. I knew it was going to be time for him to pay the piper eventually. And you had said this. You said, Dustin Jacoby's got a button for a chin. That's what you said, and I would defend him. Like, no, he doesn't. Yeah. No, he doesn't. But the thing is, he always has his chin sticking out there. It's always there. And, he jabs, he low kicks, he does.
To the same thing, and I'll let you finish this. And Nzechukwu has a bit of a chin, too.
A bit. But it seems like the second that Saif, how the hell
Safe.
Yeah. Safe. Whenever he just starts yelling at Kennedy, he's like, oh, okay, I'm not hurt anymore. Like, all right, now it's time to fight. It's hilarious. He's like getting scolded by his mother, and then he's like, okay, I'll do the right thing. It's so funny. Like, he could be like knocked out one punch, and then Saif would be like, wake up. And he'd be like, okay, cool, we're good. Man, I just think they exactly what you said. I think momentum is a huge thing in fighting, and I think these guys are on two opposite trajectories. And I'd been waiting for Dustin to start paying the piper. I was waiting for that chin to start getting cracked. And let me see. I want to pull up his record just because.
I actually think, while you're pulling up the record, I think that Nzechukwu's best path to victory here is the clinch. The elbows and the knees in the clinch.
He looks good in the clinch.
He looks really good in the clinch. And I think that's his best path to victory over here. Hey, you're the one that made us drink 4 roses tonight.
Oh, we should have drank 2 roses. That's it. So in the King Lord Michael fight, I thought he was going to get chinned. I thought that weird bounty style was going to come over and it was going to crack him, and he passed that test. Then I thought that big Korean was gonna crack him because he throws hard and he's a pretty clean striker, and it looked good for a second, and then it just all ended immediately, right? Then he fights Khalil, and I actually thought he was going to beat Khalil. I thought he did beat Khalil, and then obviously it didn't go his way.
He freaking beat Khalil. I don't care what the judges say. I don't know what the scores. Yeah. I don't care what the score says. Jacoby beat Khalil, and the judges got that wrong. The judges got that wrong.
Yeah, that one was a bummer. But then you watch him against Azamat, and Jacoby 3 years ago is beating Azamat. Like, Azamat has bad cardio. He has bad cardio. Like, he's an okay striker, and he does a lot of things well, and he's got the bounce and the leap in and out. But that dude...
But Azamat throws overhands, and that's what hurt Jacoby. And Nzechukwu doesn't. Nzechukwu throws straight.
And Nzechukwu 6'3". And when Jacoby's...
No, Nzechukwu is 6'5". Jacoby's 6'3".
Oh, okay. And so when Jacoby's sticking that chin out, and Nzechukwu throws... His straights are so fast and so clean. When he actually decides to throw him, and his timing on him is really good. The way that he was catching Negumereanu, first of all, I had a bet on Negumereanu in that fight. I should never have cashed that bet. That was a Kennedy fight for sure. His counters, I think he's getting better. I think the grappling is a thing. And honestly, even in Jacoby's victories, he looks really tired in between rounds. He looks like he slows down a lot. And Kennedy is good at conserving his energy and exploding in the moments that he needs to. So I think this fight is lined about where it should be. Maybe it should be closer to
Who's the favorite?
Kennedy's minus 155.
Okay. I think that's fair.
I think it's fair, and I think Kennedy is gonna get this one done.
I was really watching tape going, assuming I was going to pick Kennedy on all of this. And I think this is going to be a Nick Negumereanu fight with Nzechukwu, where he's just there and won't F off and just does enough. And if you look at Nchekwu's last 3 wins, Carl Roberson, who has the worst fight IQ ever, and the second he's in danger, quits.
Well, now he's a danger to society. I think he's in jail.
Yeah, Ian Cutelaba, who, you know me, I'm like, dude, this guy, you cannot bet him because he's so reckless.
He's either the most amazing fighter on the planet, or
and he does such dumb stuff. And then Devin Clark, who does the same thing, who death gassed, and then of course,
it's a very different stylistic matchup than those two. But I mean, how old is DJ now? He's 36, 37.
I think he's 34.
And, okay, I got to shout out Chicken Dinner.
He's 35. He's 35.
All right. Chicken Dinner always has some pretty good takes. Member of our Discord.
Hey, Chicken Dinner, member of our Discord, I actually just sent a Tracy Cortez jacket to because
Can I have the fight shorts?
she won the I forget what the ROI was, but the best bet of the weekend one day. So
Nice.
Anyway.
So getting a jacket.
Yep, sent her a jacket. I think should be there already last week.
Chicken Dinner makes some really good dinners. Like
of course.
some good steaks and stuff like that. But just made a good point that Dustin Jacoby's talking a lot more about golfing and hunting than he is about fighting. Now, do I think he's not training? No, I think he trains hard, and I think he's a professional, always has been. It's part of why I love DJ, because he's just about the basics. But I think he's getting older now, and I think he's lost two in a row.
Two in a row.
Yeah, he's lost 2 in a row. So I think he knows, like, hey, my path to a title is probably not there anymore. I couldn't have lost those fights if I was making a sprint towards the title, and now it's gone. Where I think Kennedy is like, he's young and he's got a lot more time to progress. So I think, again, just 2 different trajectories, and I like Kennedy here.
Yeah. Okay. Man, we've got the co-main, Jessica Andrade, Tatiana Suarez.
All right.
Give me your thoughts on that.
I couldn't help but think this line is like the widest line that I've seen in a long time.
What's the line on it?
Well, isn't
Is Tatiana a huge favorite?
Well, she probably has to be. Maybe I'm lying about that, but I just think let me see. Tatiana Suarez is minus 360 and Andrade is plus 295.
That's insane for, not to say that Andrade is going to win or anything, but for Andrade to be plus major money on anything ever is crazy because she's just a powerhouse.
Well, and okay, I get the lore of Tatiana Suarez, right? Back in the day, her cage wrestling, this was something no one had ever seen. But her last fight, I got to tell you, was very unimpressive to me. It was actually a bad look, and especially a bad look against somebody like Jessica Andrade. I'm going to look like an idiot for this one, and Andrade is going to get mopped, and she's going to get grinded out and beaten up. But Tatiana Suarez of old was cage wrestling girls, trapping their wrists, beating them up, and just re-wrestling constantly over and over and over again. This Tatiana Suarez was doing head and arm throws. She just kept going for head and arm throws and trips and just like ridiculous things. And I can't help but feel that Jessica Andrade is so strong. Are you texting someone? What's happening?
No, I'm looking at the lines or just Andrade's record.
Oh, the record.
Yep.
I just can't help but feel that Andrade is so strong and she's so powerful. And the thing is that Tatiana Suarez doesn't shoot in on the legs. Everything is about her driving to the cage and then taking him down. And Andrade is so strong in there. And she actually does really good getting off the cage. It's going to be hard, I think, for Tatiana to set everything up as well as she wants to. And she's so slow in the transition of getting there. Her striking is non-existent.
Yeah.
It's not there.
Rudimentary at best.
It's rudimentary at best.
And that's being polite.
And the thing that I worry about is that she gets hit one time, and now she's scared to go near this girl. And Andrade can put punches together. She can go for 15. She got beat by Erin Blanchfield, and even Blanchfield
at 125.
At 125, and Blanchfield got hurt several times in that fight, but just wouldn't stay. She was just in her face, and I don't think Tatiana can do that. Her striking is not on the level of Erin, and I don't think she's as comfortable as Erin was. And honestly, I think Erin's grappling is better than Tatiana's. Geez, man, this line is wide to me. Again, I could look like an idiot. I've picked against Andrade a lot. I've been screaming from the rooftops. Andrade is not that, not who everyone thinks that she is. Blanchfield, I picked Blanchfield big time over her. Yan Xiaonan, both underdogs in a row. But this is a spot where I'm like, whoa, I think that Andrade is probably going to be stronger. She's going to hit harder. Her striking is better. Her takedown defense on the cage is not the worst in the world. She needs someone that's going to shoot in on her legs to give her trouble because she's got those hips, But Suarez is going for head and arm throws. That concerned me a lot, how slow she was to get to the transitions. And that was against Montana De La Rosa, who is as slow as can be. So, man, this is a spot for me to pick Jessica Andrade.
I don't hate that. Admittedly, I didn't watch a lot of tape on this, but I did watch just the last fight back. And then, man, like, Montana was doing enough to where she's jumping in guillotines and like.
And if she doesn't get that, then what?
Yeah,
those arms,
like
that's tough.
And Andrade is good enough at jiu-jitsu. Her wrestling is her weakest point against girls. But even that Xiaonan Yan fight.
You want to try one more time?
No, I don't want to try one more time. I mean, Andrade was like chasing her down and just rushed right into punches. She's like,
and first of all, Jan is phenomenal. Her
she really is good.
Incredible.
She really is good.
And she's leveled up her wrestling defense.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Suarez is long and gangly for the weight class. For honestly, even at 25, she has a frame with a really long reach. She is a good grappler. She's coming off a long layoff, but I don't know that. Man, I'm not wowed by her. Maybe she's effective.
She's the only girl that could kind of figure out a little bit of one hint of cage wrestling. Yeah. So Joe Rogan gets on there and goes, "Man, she's wait till she comes back because she's the one girl that could wrestle a little bit."
Yeah, but I'm with you. I'll go with Andrade here. I'll go with Andrade here with just I think people are just counting her out, thinking that she is just done, and I don't think she is. I think she's very tough, and I think she's powerful. And I think that Suarez's striking is a liability.
Yeah.
If she had a little bit better striking, I could see her finding her way in a little bit easier, a little bit safer, and again and again and again. But with the striking that she has, where Andrade doesn't care, she's going to throw.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden that really changes the perspective. So I don't hate that. With not as much tape on stuff, I agree with you.
Yeah. All right, we'll see. I like this one.
All right, we've got main event time. Before we main event, you guys, we got to pay for this podcast room. So you guys got to sign up for the Discord and sign up for our newsletter and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
And send us tips. Why not? Send us some tips.
Send us just all of your money. Actually, I don't want your money. I want you to just send me the login, username, and password of your bank account and your really just all of your brokerage accounts.
Okay. All right.
Can we do that?
We can do that.
Yeah, just actually post them in the comments below. And
give me your social security number. I'm going to finance things under your name 2 months at a time until they get repossessed. And then
okay, perfect.
We'll move on to the next.
Yeah, that's what I like. I'm good with that.
All right.
So, all right, we've got Cory Sandhagen and Rob Font. Rob Font is a late replacement. Supposed to be Umar Nurmagomedov. Or Usman, or
one of those,
Said, or Habib, or one of the million Nurmagomedovs that there are. So Sandhagen's coming in. Rob Font is coming off a beautiful performance against Adrian Yanez that I think I called. Rob Font.
Wow, you're so smart. So did I. No, I think I probably went Yanez.
No, I think you actually called Yanez on that one.
Damn.
And man, so Rob Font lost to Marlon Vera. Man, that was a beating. And against Jose Aldo, looked amazing every round until he got just hurt. And it's one of those things where you want to talk about chin and liability and age, Rob Font.
But never been knocked out.
Dude just doesn't know how to die. 36 years old. He's at the twilight of his career, I think.
But he's still so good.
He's so good. He really is. And then you have Cory Sandhagen, who is 31, who's very long and big. I love his striking, but makes some bad decisions. For as smart as I think Cory Sandhagen is, I cannot get out of my brain the amount of times he spun on TJ Dillashaw. And the one I thought he won that fight, damage versus grappling. But how many times are you going to spin and get your back taken before you just stop? Hey, coaches, just tell him stop. Throw one less spin and you win that round. Or, win the round and win the fight. And, he looked good against Peter Yan, and then he got, was it like the punch and then the back fist?
Yeah,
it's like, and then after that, it kind of went downhill. He just fought Marlon Vera and Yadong Song, won both of those fights.
Why do you always say it the other way?
It says Yadong Song.
I know, but everybody else says Song Yadong.
I'm just reading right now, you guys.
Well, you know all the Chinese. Do they? How do you say it? Is it?
Hold on. I don't know Chinese. I know Mongolians. And they only have one name, and it's all weird anyway. So I don't know how to say it.
But they always say you say it backwards, like Bakgari Dana.
Yeah, well, his first name would be Bakgari, and then his last name would be Dana.
No, I think it's opposite.
No, we call him Dana, And yeah, actually, you might be right. I don't know.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You go Yadong Song, and it drives me. I'm like, everyone says Song Yadong.
Hey, look, I'm literally reading it off of Tapology's screen. Song Yadong.
Tapology hasn't even updated the new opponent for Sean Woodson. You think they can put Song Yadong's name?
Okay, so Song, guys. He beat Song. Sing Song.
Just put Ong. He beat
and
Ong.
then
That covers both bases.
He beat
Ong.
a man. And then he beat Marlon Vera. The Marlon Vera fight was impressive because he out-wrestled Marlon kind of.
Wow, that's tough.
But just to have the aptitude to do it and to do it as well as he did and to neutralize
You mean he watched 30 seconds of film and decided, hey, this guy stays on his back for an entire round. Maybe I could just try that.
No, but he did the right stuff. I know Marlon Vera will stay on his back. But honestly, even Marlon will stay on his back, but he throws the elbows and he wiggles and he finds his way up and he attacks. Man, Cory Sandhagen, shut it down. I think he's probably going to do a lot of that with Rob Font. I think
offensively?
Yeah. I think he is going to, if he needs to. I think Rob Font has a beautiful jab. But Cory Sandhagen's movement is really good. His kicks are really good. And I think Rob Font has such a high guard that I think Cory's going to find his mark with the kicks quite a bit. But if Rob starts finding a home for that jab, if Rob starts landing a bit, I could see Cory really wrestling and kind of winning via a wrestling decision or mixing up wrestling and then adding in his striking. For brevity's sake, I kind of really like Cory Sandhagen here. He's young. He doesn't really have a chin issue. I feel like he's a little bit more well-rounded. He is long, and the way that he moves, I think is going to be hard for Rob to just really start sticking that jab. I think he has better range than Yanez. Like, Yanez is shorter, and Rob could really control the jab range right there. Cory, I think he's going to have a hard time finding that jab. And then if he does, I think he's going to just get out-wrestled.
I think that's tough because I think Rob's wrestling is not the greatest, but it's good enough to defend Cory Sandhagen. Like, he saw a Cheeto that has 0 at all. That doesn't even try. I think he just talks shit to you until he tell you stand up, so let's fight like men. But he doesn't actually defend takedowns. Man, plus 280 on Rob Font seems like a lot to me. It seems like a lot for a guy who makes less dumb decisions than Cory Sandhagen, and literally his only knock is he's getting chinned. And he's getting chinned by Aldo, Cheeto, guys who are known as big power punchers, and Sandhagen with his little skinny noodle arms, whose best strike period is his liver shot, like his left to the body. It's not his chin. It's the liver shot. Man, it's tempting me. It's tough not to go Rob Font here, a guy who's going to put the jab. Now, I agree with you. Cory moves so much, but the optics on that are bad too. If you're moving back constantly while a guy's in your face and he's stalking you down, he's throwing jabs, a guy who's as educated as Rob Font is, man, that's tough. I'm going to go Rob Font here. I think this line is honestly pretty disrespectful to Rob Font with how much he's done in his career. His fundamentals are so solid. He hits so freaking hard. He's such a big bantamweight. And at any point, Cory can throw a million spinning kicks. Who's to say that Rob doesn't get on top of him?
Yeah, but I think Cory's jiu-jitsu is pretty good. And
it's okay, but it's just a lot of squirmy shit.
But I mean, he's got a good triangle. He's got a good armbar that's going to create some movement. And I think Cory ends up getting back up to his feet.
Okay, he gets back up after a minute, and then Rob beats his ass with jabs again. And he's solid, and he's in the pocket. I don't know. This line seems really wide. If this was closer to minus 200, minus 150 Cory, I'm like, okay, now we're talking here. But, man, Rob just does the fundamentals so well. Amazing jab, good power.
Massive hands. His hands are like that's sledgehammer.
The dude is huge. Like, I just think about it. He's massive. It's hard for me not to play that kind of
He is a
fun.
massive bantamweight.
And you have described it on the podcast before, and then we have a guy that trains with him or at least knows him pretty well. And he goes, yeah, however big Santino was describing him on the podcast, he's like bigger than that.
He's huge. It's him and Calvin Kattar both are like huge humans. Like, I'm like, how out of camp, like them in the cage at 135 and 145 respectively, whatever. Out of camp, I'm like, there's no way that you guys can.
You know what's so funny, and I hope this matchup could be next. I remember you telling me one time you were behind Peter Yan when he was fighting, and you're like, man, Peter is small.
Tiny
Guy. He could fight flyweight if he wanted to. And then you stand next to Rob Font. He's massive. Could
Huge.
be a 55er.
It's insane.
And then I would love to see a fight between those two. That would be so fun.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say on this fight is I feel like this is a trajectory thing. I think that Cory Sandhagen is a little young and on the up, and I feel like Font is just at that twilight.
But Font just knocked out Giannis, who's another guy who was on the upward trajectory.
Yeah, but I think Giannis' height and inability to close the distance was the key there.
He got knocked out. It was bad.
Yeah.
And Giannis was knocking everybody out. So you're talking trajectory. That's a young kid that they brought in, a guy that had perceived chin issues versus a guy who's knocking everybody out.
Yeah, but he's wearing them down and knocking them out. And Giannis and Cory Sandhagen are not the same fighter.
He knocked out that guy, Victor.
We're done here. You're not changing my mind. I like Cory Sandhagen here. I think it's probably going to go quite a bit, probably a decision, but I'm going with the guy, Cory.
All right, guys. One last thing before we get out of here. So I just wanted to see how big our reach is. So if you guys could all go on Robin O'Neal's Instagram and just like say like, welcome to Miami, or like say something about Miami. I just want to see like how many people are watching the show, how much of a reach we have. Just go on any random picture and just say something about Miami. Like, when you going to Miami? That's it. I just want to see how many we can do. You
should have said that at the beginning of the pod.
I know. No, everyone tunes out by this point.
Yeah.
But maybe we can like caption that as like a challenge. So, Johnny, Yanni, Diablo Momo, he's the guy who does our timestamps.
Okay.
Put this in as a special challenge. Robin O'Neal's Instagram. Say something about Miami. Doesn't matter what it is. Just something Miami related under the most recent picture.
Done. There you have it,
folks. All right,
folks.
guys. 5,000 views. We should get at least 5,000 comments.
Love it. See you guys.